been using the new Lenovo Yoga Pro 9i for the last month, and there is so much going for it. Incredible display, excellent performance, great inputs. Now yes, this video is sponsored by Lenovo and Intel, but that doesn't change the fact that this is one of the most impressive Windows laptops I've tested in years. Now I actually got my hands on this back in December, way before Lenovo announced it at CES. A laptop is one of the most important tech purchases you can make. It is useful for almost everything. If you're a creator, if you're a gamer, or you just want to get work done. The laptop is, in my opinion, the single best form factor that does it all. So when Lenovo told me they plan to release the Yoga Pro 9i at CES this year, I was intrigued because I'll be honest, this is one of the most competitive spots in all of laptops. It is going head to head with the MacBook Pro. I'll be honest, the MacBook Pro is a very difficult laptop to compete with because it just does so many things so well, and I would argue that it is the standard when it comes to creators. But the Yoga Pro 9i is aiming to dethrone it, and at first glance, there is a lot going for this device. And I'm gonna assume that Lenovo are confident because they have provided me a review unit 4 months before it goes on sale. It does sort of give a certain amount of confidence in the project if they're willing to share something this early. Now I will be transparent. As you might imagine, a laptop that's not coming out for another 4 months is nowhere near complete. This is one of the very first prototypes off the assembly line, which means I'm not going to do any benchmarking. Some of the technical details are actually going to be under embargo until a lot closer to the actual launch. But what I can do is give you hopefully a very good sense for what this laptop is and what it is not. The first thing that jumps out to me is the display. It really is the best laptop screen I've used, and the reason is tandem OLED. Now OLED has been around for years with a lot of upsides. Great viewing angles, perfect contrast, accurate color, but traditionally OLEDs can't get quite as bright as something like Mini LED. Tandem OLED solves that by literally stacking 2 OLED panels on top of each other. You get all the benefits of OLED, but now it can go up to 1600 nits of peak brightness. It's a 16-inch 3.2K panel at 120 Hz, and it is a real highlight of the Pro 9i. If you're a creator, screens don't really get better than this. The other highlight is what's on the inside. At CES, probably the biggest announcement were Intel's new processors, Core Ultra Series 3, codenamed Panther Lake. Now this is a pretty big deal. It's built largely on Intel's new 18A process, and Intel's making some pretty big claims. Over 50% faster CPU performance compared to the previous generation, 50% better graphics performance, and significantly improved power efficiency. There's also a dedicated NPU for AI tasks, which makes this a Copilot Plus PC to support all the new Windows 11 AI features. Now unfortunately I can't benchmark yet because this is not final hardware, but I can tell you that even in this early state, it feels fast and efficient. Battery life is promising for a laptop with this much performance paired with a 92.5 watt-hour battery. Now my unit is outfitted with an NVIDIA RTX 5060, and you can spec it up to an RTX 5070. One of the big selling points is that this is what Lenovo calls their Riz Edition Aura Edition. Sorry, this is their Aura Edition laptop. Now that includes a bunch of features, including Smart Share to easily share photos of files between your laptop and phone, as well as Smart Care, which is premium support directly on your laptop. From a design perspective, I really like how this looks and feels. It's got this soft touch gray finish with curved edges, and it's lighter than the 16-inch MacBook Pro despite packing all of this hardware. And Lenovo redesigned their X-Power cooling system, so you can see that it has these much larger vents and a 3D mesh plate on the inside, which is part of how they're managing the 130 watt TDP for full performance. Now I'll be honest, personally, I do tend to lean more towards smaller 14-inch laptops for portability. When it comes to creator devices though, I know I'm absolutely in the minority. The 16-inch devices are what sells, mostly because most people prefer the larger screen real estate and the extra power. One area I think almost everyone can agree though, is that the Yoga laptops have terrific keyboards, and the Pro 9i is no exception. You get 1.5 millimeters of key travel, great tactile feedback. I'll be honest, Lenovo keyboards are one of the main selling points for the laptops for me. But thankfully, the inputs are good across the board this time around, as the trackpad is now finally a force pad, which means you get a uniform click no matter where you press. It's haptic instead of being a diving board style where only the bottom clicks. I've been pitching Lenovo to do this for years, and I am so happy that they've finally done it, because not only is it a great touchpad, but it also supports pen input directly on the trackpad, and the stylus is included and magnetically attaches to the back. Awesome. The port selection is great. You get a full-size UHS 2 SD card reader, HDMI 2.1, headphone jack, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, as well as 2 USB-A ports. Everything you need is right here with no dongles required, and it also has Wi-Fi 7 on board. And then there's the audio. This has 6 speakers total, 2 tweeters and 4 woofers, and they are absurdly loud. Legitimately impressive for a laptop this thin, because not only are they loud, but they sound clear and full. And unlike some other 16-inch laptops, which waste all that space beside the keyboard with a number pad, which is useless and dumb, instead, you've got upward firing speakers and downward firing speakers. Now, Lenovo also sent over their Yoga Pro monitor, which is designed specifically to pair with this laptop. It's a 27-inch 4K OLED display at 120 Hz, and the picture quality is impressive. What makes it interesting for the setup are the smart features. You've also got a USB-C attached webcam, which is way better than anything you'll ever get on a laptop, and it also can be rotated down so you can get a desk view. It also automatically matches the color space with the Yoga Pro 9i, so you're getting consistent color across both displays. You can also sync these 6 speakers together, which means that both the laptop and monitor can play audio at the same time. While the speakers on the laptop sound good, when you pair it with the monitor, it sounds awesome. Take a listen. Now, of course, the monitor is optional, but if you're building out a creator workspace, they've done a good job of making this the obvious choice to pair with the Pro 9i. So let's talk about the MacBook Pro, because that is really what this comes down to, right? The MacBook Pro is a great laptop. It has been the standard for creators for years, and for good reason. It just works. Battery life is incredible, and the hardware is built like an absolute tank. So where does the Yoga actually win? Well, my opinion, first of all, it is with the display. This tandem OLED is genuinely right there with the MacBook's Mini LED. On paper, they have the same 1600 nits, although the MacBook only gives you that brightness with HDR content. The Yoga is also touch, unlike the MacBook. To me, it's just a better display. The Yoga also wins with the keyboard. I mean, there's no contest there. It also has a better port selection, including USB-A. And of course, RTX graphics are a big deal for both creative applications and for gaming. Now, don't get me wrong, the MacBook has a great integrated GPU, but it's just not the same as having something like an RTX 5060 or 5070. But there are trade-offs. Since this is a pre-production unit, I can't really test battery life, even though it seems decent at first glance, but it has got a serious uphill battle to beat the MacBook's battery, especially under heavier loads. I also personally slightly prefer the touchpad on the Mac, although having stylus support probably gives this the win for most people. Now look, I'm not going to tell you that any Windows computer, this one included, can replace a MacBook for your workflow. It is very dependent on your personal preference. What I can say is that this really is the best Windows creator laptop I've ever used. I don't say it lightly because the display is exceptional, the performance is strong, the inputs are spot on. It is a really well-rounded package. So thank you again to Lenovo and Intel for giving me early access and for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn anything else about the Yoga Pro 9i, I'll have a link in the description, and thank you very much for watching, my friends.